Hello everyone, and welcome to my class. I'm Deputy Professor Liu from Hebei University of Chinese Medicine. Very happy to be here with you this time. And we are going to talk about the vivid description of Zangfu organs in traditional Chinese medicine. We all know that in the basic series of traditional Chinese medicine, there are 5 Zang organs and 6 Fu organs. Combined together, there are 11 internal organs in the series of traditional Chinese medicine. And they are divided as follows. We can see on the screen that heart, lung, spleen, liver, and kidney, they are collectively called 5 Zang viscera. Their common functions are to produce and store the essence qi. And their characteristics are they can be full of essence qi instead of containing the foodstuff. And we also can see that gallbladder, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, urinary bladder, and trigeal or triple energizer, and they are combined as the 6 Fu viscera. Their common functions are to receive, digest, and transmit the foodstuff. And their characteristics are they can be full of foodstuff instead of storing essence qi. In the next minutes, we are going to discuss them one by one. The first one we are going to talk about is the heart. The heart is located in the thorax. Its major functions are to govern blood and house spirit. The heart and small intestine form an internal-external relationship through mutual connection and affiliation of their meridians. The heart is associated with vessel in constituent, reflects its brilliance in the face, and is associated with joy in emotion, with tongue in orifice, and with sweat in secretion. In the basic series of traditional Chinese medicine, or TCM, the heart plays a dominant role to the vital activity of the whole body, so it is called the monarch and the dominator of all the 5 Zang viscera and the 6 Fu viscera. Now let's come to the major functions of the heart. The first one is the heart governs blood. The function of governing blood by the heart includes 2 respects of circulating and producing blood. The first one is the heart circulates blood, and this means the heart qi is of action to drive and regulate the circulation of blood within the vessels. Continuous flow of blood in the vessels depends upon the action of heart qi. The heart qi maintains blood flow free and the vessels smooth through propelling blood circulation and regulating dilation and contraction of the vessels. Therefore, if the heart qi is sufficient and the function of the heart in governing blood is normal, then the complexion will be rosy and lustrous, the thorax be comfort, the pulse be even, moderate, and forceful. On the contrary, if the heart qi is insufficient and the function of the heart in governing blood is disordered, then the blood flow will get unsmooth, the pulse be forceless, or even there occur stagnation of qi blood and obstruction of the vessels. Then there may occur dark and gray complexion, cyanosis of the lips and tongue, primordial oppression, stuffiness, stabbing pain, as well as not intermittent, and hasty pulse. The second one is the heart produces blood. We can see that the blood is mainly composed of nutritive qi and body fluid, but the action of heart yang is necessary for nutritive qi and blood fluid to compose blood, or changing them into red to become blood. The second one of the heart function is housing the spirit. The function of housing spirit of the heart means the heart has the function of dominating the mental activities, such as in psychology and emotion, and life activities of the whole body. Man's psychological and emotional activities are closely related with the five Zang viscera, or five Zang organs, performed by coordination of the five Zang organs, however dominated by the heart. The heart houses spirit which can control qi. The heart spirit controls and coordinates the movement of the visceral qi so as to drive and regulate the function of the viscera. That is to say, when the function of the heart in housing spirit is normal, people will be high spirit, clear consciousness, quick thinking, and acute response. Then the functions of the viscera are coordinative and the whole body is healthy. But on the contrary, if the function of the heart in housing spirit is abnormal, there will appear clinical manifestations of insomnia, dreamfulness, restlessness, delirium, and madness, or tardy response, amnesia, listlessness, and even coma. It may also affect the functions of other viscera, or so-called in Chinese medicine, dysfunction of the heart would cause the disorders of the other 5 Zang and 6 organs, and even endanger the life. The function of housing spirit and the function of governing blood of the heart are closely related. The function of housing spirit of the heart can regulate the heart qi in its driving blood to circulate within the vessels, being conductive to the heart in its governing blood. While the heart by governing blood can supply material basis for mental activities, being beneficial to the heart in its housing spirit. The blood is the major material basis for mental activities. Therefore, the dysfunction of the heart in governing blood will inevitably lead to disorder of the heart spirit. Contrarily, the dysfunction of the heart in housing spirit may also result in the abnormality of blood flow. The next one we are going to say something related closely to the heart. And the first one is the heart is associated with vessels in constituent and reflects its brilliance in the face. Vessel means blood vessel, being the passageway of qi blood circulation. What the heart is associated with the vessel in constituent signifies that the blood vessels of the whole body are dominated by the heart. The heart directly connects with the vessels. The dilation and constriction of the vessels are regulated by the heart qi. When the heart qi is sufficient, the pulsation will be moderate and forceful with an even rhythm. If the heart qi is insufficient, the pulsation will be steady and forceless. Its reflection of brilliance in the face means the state of the physiological function of the heart may be reflected as the changes of color and luster in the face. The heart is associated with the vessels, and the face is rich in distribution of vessels. Therefore, when the heart qi is sufficient and blood vessels are full of blood, the face will be red and lustrous. If the heart qi is insufficient, the face will get pale or dark and gloomy. If the heart blood is deficient, the face will become illustrious. and if the heart blood gets stagnated, and the face will get chaotic. The next one is the heart is associated with joy in emotion. The function of the heart is closely related with joy of emotion. And appropriate joy is a reaction of the body to an optimal stimulation. And it is good to the physiological functions of the heart, such as governing blood. However, overjoy may take the heart spirit lax, leading to clinical manifestations such as endless joy and mental disorder. And besides, the heart houses spirit, so not only overjoy injures the heart, but also the extreme of the 5 emotions can all disturb the heart spirit. The next one we're going to talk about is that the heart is associated with tone and orifice. The heart connects with the tone through the meridians, and the conditions of the functions of the heart influence and are reflected in the tone. So the heart is associated with the tone. When the functions of the heart in governing blood and housing spirit are normal, the tone will be red and moist, soft, and flexible, with the acute sense of taste and fluent speech. If the function of the heart gets disordered in governing blood and blood is deficient, the tone will become pale. If the heart yang gets short, the tone will be pale and enlarged. If the heart blood gets stagnated, the tone will become dark and purplish or with ecchymosis. If the function of the heart in housing spirit gets abnormal, there may be symptoms such as curved tone and steep tone with dysphasia or aphasia. The next one we're going to say is the heart is associated with sweat in secretion. This means that sweat is closely related with the heart blood and heart spirit. Sweat is transformed from body fluid, and body fluid shares the same source with blood, and the two transform themselves into each other. The body fluid, as it permeates into the vessels, will become blood, while blood, as it permeates out of the vessels, will become body fluids. Furthermore, blood is governed by the heart. So when the heart blood is abundant, the body fluid will be ample. Thus, sweat will have a source for production. In addition, the heart houses a spirit, and the production and secretion of sweat are regulated by the heart spirit. And mental stress may cause perspiration. Hence, there is a saying that sweat is the secretion of the heart. Now, and that is all for the contents concerning the heart. The next one we're going to talk about is the land. We can also see that the land is of 2 lobes, each being situated in one side of the thorax. The major functions of it are governing respiratory qi and qi of the whole body, smoothing water passage, and connecting with vessels. The land and large intestine forms an exterior-interior relationship through connection and affiliation of their meridians. The land is associated with skin in constituents, reflects its brilliance in the hair, and is associated with sorrow or worry in emotion, with nose in orifice, and with female in secretion. The heart is located at the highest position among the viscera and covers the others. So it is thus called the canopy, because its lobes are delicate and communicate with outside world. It is subject to invasion of pathogens. Hence, it was given the name of a fragile organ. The movement of the land qi are of 2 models of diffusion and descent. Diffusion includes diffusing and dispersing. Diffusing and dispersing of Lan Qi means the Lan Qi can diffuse upwards and disperse outwards. The physiological function of the Lan Qi in diffusion mainly embodies three respects, just as shown on the screen. Firstly, exhaling turbid gases in the body. Next, transporting the foodstuff essence and fluid transported by the spleen upward to the head and face, outward to the surface of the body. And last, diffusing defensive qi to the body surface to warm the muscle and skin, to regulate open and close of the pores so as to control the excretion of sweat. Therefore, as the Lan Qi fails in diffusion, there will occur cough, aversion to cold, so on and so forth. Descent includes purifying and descending. And purifying and descending of Lan Qi means the Lan Qi can go downward and keep the respiratory tract pure and clear. The physiological function of the Lan Qi also embodies three respects. Firstly, inhaling the clear air of nature. Next, distributing the foodstuff essence and fluid transported by the spleen downward and inward to other vessels and tissues. And last, eliminating clearly the foreign body in the lung and respiratory tract so as to keep the respiratory clear. Therefore, if the Lan Qi fails in descent, there will appear expiratory dyspnea, wheezing, and panting. We can see that the diffusion and descent for the Lan Qi are two aspects both opposite and complementary to each other. Under the physiological conditions, they depend upon each other and restrict each other. Under the pathological conditions, they often impact each other. When the Lan Qi diffuses and descends normally, the respiration will be even and freely, and water spreads out normally. If the coordination of the two aspects get disturbed, there will appear disorders of failure of Lan Qi in diffusion and failure of Lan Qi in purification and descent, manifesting as chest distress, cough, panting, expectoration, and other things. The next one we're going to talk about is something related also clearly and closely with the Lan. The Lan governs respiratory qi. This function means the Lan possesses the action to inhale the clear air of nature and exhale the turbid gases in the body so as to achieve gas exchange between the interior and exterior of the body. Government of respiratory qi by the Lan is actually the embodiment of diffusion and the purification descent of the Lan Qi in the process of gas exchange between the interior and exterior of the body. Diffusion of Lan Qi exhales turbid gases, and descent of Lan Qi inhales clear air, so that it guarantees normality of the Lan in governing respiratory qi. If the Lan Qi fails in diffusion or descent, it will definitely influence the respiratory movement of the Lan, thus abnormality manifesting as chest distress, cough, panting, etc. The second one is that the Lan governs qi of the whole body. And this function means the Lan has the actions to govern the production and circulation of the whole body's qi. It first embodies the production of qi of the whole body. The whole body's qi is mainly composed of pectoral qi and primordial qi. The pectoral qi is mainly produced by a combination of the clear air inhaled by the Lan and the essential qi of foodstuffs transformed and transported by the spleen and stomach. The pectoral qi forms in the thorax and accumulates in the thorax. The lan governs respiratory qi, which influences the production of pectoral qi. In turn, it influences the production of the whole body's qi. Next, the government of whole body's qi by the lan again embodies regulation of qi dynamic of the whole body. The process of lan's respiratory movement is the motion of qi in ascending, descending, exceeding, and entering. The inhalation and exhalation by the lan plays an important role for the motion of the qi of the whole body in ascending, descending, exceeding, and entering. The next one we're going to talk about is that lan is in charge of smoothing water passage. Smoothing here means dredging and regulating. Water passageway signifies the passage for circulation and excretion of water, and this function means the lan possesses the actions to dredge and regulate distribution, circulation, and excretion of water in the body. The function of the lan in smoothing water passageway is actually the complete expression of the diffusing and the descending motion of lan qi in water metabolism. Diffusion of the lan qi not only diffuses the fluid upward to the head and face and disperses the fluid outward to the body surface, but also can diffuse the defensive qi to control the opening and closing of the pores, regulating excretion of sweat. Purification and descent of the lan qi not only transports the fluid downward to the other vessels and tissues, but also can transport the turbid liquid produced by metabolism of the vessel into the kidney as the source of urine formation. Only the lan functions normally in smoothing water passageway. Can the water metabolism be normal? On the contrary, if the lan's function of a smoothing water passageway gets weak, it will lead to accumulation of water and manifesting as disorders of water and dampness, phlegm, and stagnant fluid. So next one we're going to talk about is the lens connecting with the vessels. This function of the lens means blood of the whole body converges in the lens through the vessels, carries out the gas exchange through the lens function of inhaling the air, inhaling the clear, and exhaling the turbid. And then, by the diffusing and descending motion of lan qi, the blood richly containing clear qi goes through the vessels again to the whole body. The circulation of blood is propelled by the heart qi, but the lan possesses the action of assisting the heart in circulating blood. The circulation of blood depends upon the driving action of qi, and the production and flow of qi of the whole body is governed by the lan. So, when the lan qi is sufficient, the production and flow of qi will be normal and being conducive to smooth blood circulation. Conversely, if the lan qi gets declined and fails to assist the heart in circulating blood, the blood will flow unsmoothly. Thus, there will appear the signs of qi deficiency and blood stasis, such as chest distress, palpitation, cyanotic lips, and purplish tongue. The next one we're going to talk about is that the lan is associated with the skin and reflects its brilliance in the hair. The skin and the hair are the exterior of the body. The lan possesses the physiological function of diffusing the defensive qi and transporting the essence onto the skin and hair. So, it guarantees the skin and hair to get the warming and the nourishing and moistening of the defensive qi and foodstuff essence. Therefore, the lan is closely related with the skin and hair. That is to say, when the lan qi is sufficient, the function of the lan in diffusing defensive qi and transporting essence onto the skin and hair will be normal. then the skin will be compact and the hair be lustrous. On the contrary, if the lan qi gets declined and fails to diffuse the defensive qi and essence onto the skin and hair, there will occur some very severe and distinct manifestations, such as being subject to catch cold or withered skin and hair. The next one, the lan is associated with sorrow or worry in emotion. We can see that sorrow and worry are the emotional changes to one pessimistic stimulation. The major influence of them is constant consumption of qi. So we say that grief makes qi consumed. The lan governs qi, so sorrow and worry are apt to consume the lan. Over sorrow and worry may cause deficiency of lan qi, manifesting as a shortage of reason. Contrary, if the lan qi gets deficient, the tolerance of pessimistic stimulation by human body will decrease, and thus it is likely to lead to the changes of sorrow and worry. The lan, sorrow, and worry interact on each other. Therefore, the lan is associated with sorrow or worry in emotion. The next one we're going to talk about is that the lan is associated with nose in orifice. The nose is the passageway for entrance and exit of breathing qi. It communicates with the lan, so the lan is associated with the nose in orifice. The normality of the nose in ventilation and smelling depends upon the action of the lan qi. When lan qi diffuses smoothly, the nose will be free from obstruction with keen swelling. On the contrary, if the lan qi fails in diffusion, it will lead to nasal obstruction. Since the lan opens into the nose, exogenous pathogens often invade the body through the nose. The next one we're going to talk about is the spleen. Spleen is reputed as a very high position in the basic series of traditional Chinese medicine. We can see that the spleen is located under the diaphragm. Its main functions are to govern transformation and transportation, send up the clear and control blood. The spleen and stomach form an exterior-interior relationship through mutual affiliation and connection of their meridians. The spleen is associated with the muscles in constituent, dominates the forelimbs, reflects its brilliance in the lips, is associated with sinking emotion, with mouth in orifice, and with slobber in secretion. The spleen transforms the foodstuff into essence, thus provides substantial basis for postnatal life activity and production of qi blood. It is thus called the root of acquirement and the origin for qi blood production. Now let's take them one by one. The first one is that the spleen governs transformation and transportation. This function of the spleen means that the action of the spleen in transforming the foodstuff into essence and absorbing and transporting it into the whole body. This function can be divided into two aspects of transforming and transporting foodstuff and transforming and transporting water. The first one is transforming and transporting foodstuff. We can see that the spleen is in charge of transforming and transporting foodstuff, signifies that the spleen qi has the actions to promote the digestion of food taken in and the absorption of the foodstuff essence, and further to distribute the essence. The digestion of the food takes place in the gastrointestinal tract, but it must depend on the transformation of the spleen to make the food transform into the essence. and the essence again must depend on the transportation by the spleen to be absorbed and sent up to the land and spread to the whole body. When the spleen functions soundly, the body's digestion, absorption, and transportation will be sufficient. Then it provides sufficient nutriment for production of essence, qi, blood, and fluid, so that the visceral meridians, the collaterals, forelimbs, and skeleton, as well as tendons, muscles, skin, and hairs, can get enough nutrition materials and thus perform their normal physiological activities. On the contrary, if the spleen's function in transforming and transporting foodstuff decreases, the body's digestion, absorption, transportation will get disordered. Then there may appear failure of the spleen in sound transformation and transportation, manifesting as sometimes we are very familiar with that diarrhea, the poor appetite, or underproduction of qi blood representing with lassitude and emaciation. The next part is the transforming and transporting water. We can see that the spleen is in charge of transforming and transporting water, means that the spleen possesses the action to absorb and transport body fluids so as to regulate water metabolism. The spleen qi can make the water taken in by the body absorbed and transport it onto the whole body so that the water plays its moistening and nourishing roles. It can also timely transport the surplus water in the body into the land and kidney, where the surplus water, through the qi transformation of the land and kidney, is transformed into sweat and urine, which are discharged out of the body. Therefore, when the spleen functions soundly in transforming and transporting water, it will guarantee the moistening of the whole body's tissues by the fluid. On the other hand, it can also prevent the abnormal stagnation of water in the body. If the function of the spleen in transforming and transporting water decreases, it will inevitably lead to stagnation of water in the body, and thus the pathological products such as water dampness and phlegm stagnant fluid will develop. So we can see that the two aspects of the spleen's actions of transforming and transporting foodstuff and water are inseparable, and they are related with each other and influenced mutually. The spleen's function in transformation and transportation provides the material basis for production of qi and blood, and it is very important to the maintenance of the body's vital activity, and therefore one should protect the spleen carefully to make the spleen qi sound in transformation and transportation so that qi and blood are sufficient and the body is free from invasion of pathogens. The next one is that the spleen is in charge of setting up the clear. This means that the spleen qi goes upward and thus transports the nourishment of foodstuff essence by its transformation up to the heart, land, head, and eye. And further, the foodstuff essence is transformed into qi blood by the function of the heart and land so as to nourish the whole body. The sending up the clear by the spleen is mentioned just to compare with the sending down the turbid by the stomach. The spleen will function soundly as its qi goes up normally, and the stomach will function soundly as its qi goes down normally. Only when the ascent of spleen and the descent of stomach coordinate can the function of the body in digestion and absorption keep normal. Besides, it is owing to the ascent of the spleen qi that the positions of the internal organs are kept relatively fixed, and the ptosis of them avoided. So we can see that if the spleen qi fails to send up the clear, the foodstuff essence cannot be transported up to the heart and land, generation of qi blood is short of source, and the head and eyes lose their nourishment. Then there may appear symptoms of listlessness, dizziness, and vertigo. If the spleen qi loses its power to lift or conversely sinks down, there may appear symptoms of the chronic diarrhea with ptosis of some vessel. The next one is that the spleen is responsible for controlling blood. And this function of the spleen signifies that the spleen possesses the action of keeping blood circulating within the vessels and preventing it from extravasation. The reason for the spleen to control blood lies in its function of transportation and transformation, being the source for production of qi blood. When the spleen qi is sound in transformation and transportation, the generation of qi blood will have the source, and qi blood will be abundant. As qi is sufficient so that its power in controlling blood is powerful, and then the blood cannot escape from the vessels and cause bleeding. On the contrary, if the spleen gets insufficient and fails to transform and transport, qi and blood will be deficient because generation of qi blood is short of source. As qi is deficient, its function of controlling blood will decline. Thus, it will lead to extravasation of blood with resultant bleeding. Since the spleen qi is in charge of ascending and the spleen is associated with the muscle in constituent, so the failure of spleen in controlling blood is often presented as the bleeding in the lower part of the body, such as hematuria, metrorrhagia, and metastasis, as well as purpura. The next one we're going to talk about is something related closely to the spleen. The first one is the spleen is associated with the muscles in constituents, dominates the forelimbs, and reflects brilliance on the lips. The muscles of the whole body and the forelimbs all depend on the nutrition of foodstuff essence transformed and transported by the spleen. So the spleen is associated with the muscles and dominates the forelimbs. That is to say, when the spleen functions normally in transportation and transformation, the muscles and forelimbs can get the nourishment of the foodstuff essence. Then the muscles are well developed, thick and strong. The forelimbs are nimble and forceful. If the spleen's function in transformation and transportation gets disordered, the muscles and forelimbs will lose their nourishment of foodstuff essence. Thus, it definitely causes severely thinning of the muscles and flexility and weakness of the forelimbs, even atrophy with motor impairment. The color of the leaves is related with the abundance of qi blood of the whole body. The spleen is the source for production of qi blood. Therefore, the color and luster of leaves can reflect the strength of the spleen's function, or the spleen reflects its brilliance in the leaves. When the spleen functions normally in transportation and transformation, qi blood will be abundant. Then the leaves will be ruddy and moist with luster. Contrarily, if the spleen's function of transportation and transformation get disordered, qi blood will be deficient, and then there will be abnormal manifestation of pale leaves with no luster. The next one I'm going to talk about is the spleen is associated with sinking in emotion. Overthinking may influence the normal activity of spleen of the qi, leading to qi stagnation, especially in the middle. Thus, it will influence the functions of the spleen in transformation and transportation, and setting up the clear, and then there may appear symptoms of a poor appetite, distending, and stuffiness of the epigastrum, dizziness and vertigo, and therefore it is said the spleen is associated with the sinking in emotion. The next one is the spleen is associated with the moss in the orifice. The spleen is in charge of transportation and transformation. When the spleen qi is sufficient in transportation and transformation, the taste and appetite will be normal. That's to say that the spleen qi communicates with the mouth. As the spleen functions well normally, the mouth can taste the 5 flavors. If the spleen fails in normal transportation and transformation, there will appear poor appetite and some abdominal sensations of such as tastelessness or sweet, greasy, and bitter taste of the mouth. The appetite and taste are closely related to the spleen's function of transportation and transformation, so the spleen is associated with the mouth in orifice. The next one we're going to talk about is the liver. We can see that the liver is situated in the upper part of the abdominal cavity and at the inside of the right hypochondrium. Its major functions are to govern the free flow of qi and store blood. The liver and gallbladder form an exterior-interior relationship through affiliation and connection of their meridians. And the liver is associated with tendons in constituents, reflects its brilliance in the nails, and is associated with anger in emotion, with eyes in orifice, and with tear in secretion. The liver is characterized by ascent and motion of its qi, and its qi tends to be flourishing and free from obstruction. Therefore, the liver has its name of resolute organ. We can see them one by one. The first one of the liver's function is the liver governs free flow of qi. This function means that the liver possesses the action to smooth the qi dynamic of the whole body. Qi dynamic means the motion of the qi. The function of the liver in governing free flow of qi plays an important regulatory role of ascending, descending, exiting, and entering of qi in every viscous and tissue so as to guarantee the freedom of the whole body's qi dynamic, and in return to promote the circulation and distribution of essence, body, blood, and body fluids, transportation and transformation by the spleen and stomach, secretion and excretion of bile, smoothness of sentiment, ejaculation in men, and menstruation in women, influencing the body extensively. The major effects of the governing free flow of qi by the liver are as follows. The first one is smoothing qi dynamic. The liver is physiologically characterized by ascent and the motion of its qi, and the government of a free flow of qi by the liver can make qi dynamic free from obstruction and avoid qi stagnation. So when the liver functions normally in government of a free flow of qi, the qi dynamic will be smooth, with harmony of qi and blood and smoothness of meridians and collaterals and normal activities of the viscera. If the liver gets abnormal in government of a free flow of qi, it may present with hypofunction in government of qi flow, then the ascent of qi will be insufficient. The qi dynamic will be obstructed, with resultant pathological changes of unfreedom and stagnation of qi dynamic, manifesting as such as distending pain and discomfort of the chest, hypochondria, and the discomfort of the two breasts or lateral parts of the lower abdomen. On the other hand, it may also present with hyperfunction. Then the ascent of qi will be hyperactive, with resultant pathological changes of the adverse rising of liver qi manifesting as distending pain of the head and eyes, red face and eyes, irritability, or even sometimes adverse rising of blood, falling qi with hematemesis and hemoptysis. So the next one of the liver's function is promoting circulation of blood and body fluids. And the blood and body fluid belongs to yin and are characterized by stillness, and their distribution depends upon the propelling action of qi. And when the liver functions normally in government of qi flow, the ascending and descending, exiting and entering motion of qi will be free. Then the circulation of blood and the distribution of body fluids will be smooth along with it. On the contrary, if liver qi gets stagnated, it will lead to disturbance of blood circulation with formation of blood stasis. If liver qi rises adversely, it will force blood to go upward and lead to bleeding like hematemesis and hemoptysis. Besides, the abnormality of the liver's governing free flow of qi may also lead to disturbance of body fluid metabolism, and causing pathological changes of water, dampness, phlegm, and fluid retention. The next one is the liver is responsible for promoting transformation and transportation of the spleen and stomach. Spleen qi ascends and stomach qi descends in property. The spleen is in charge of sending up the clear, and the stomach is in charge of sending down turbid. Only ascent and descent coordinates with each other can the function of the spleen and stomach in transformation and transportation be normal. The normality of the liver's governing free flow of qi serves as an important condition for normal ascent and descent of qi of the spleen and stomach. When the liver functions normally, qi flows freely and smoothly. The spleen qi can ascend, the stomach qi can descend, and then the function of the spleen and stomach in transformation and transportation will be normal. As the liver functions abnormally in governing free flow of qi, it will not only affect the spleen in sending up the clear, manifesting as dizziness, vertigo in the upper and diarrhea in the lower, but also affect the stomach in sending down the turbid, manifesting as hiccup and eructation in the upper, epigastric distension, and fullness in the middle, and constipation in the lower. The fourth one is that the liver is responsible of helping secretion and excretion of bile. And we can see that the bile is produced by the surplus qi of the liver. So its secretion and excretion are controlled by the liver's function of governing free flow of qi. When the liver functions normally in transportation and transformation with a smooth flow of qi dynamic, then the bile will be normally secreted and excreted. Thus, it is conducive to spleen's transportation and transformation and stomach's decomposition. If the liver qi gets depressed, it will affect the secretion and excretion of bile, resulting in pathological changes of distension, fullness, and pain in the hypochondria, or bitter taste in the mouth, indigestion, and even jaundice. The next one is the liver is in charge of smoothing emotion. We can see that the normal activity of emotion is mainly dependent upon the normal circulation of qi blood. The government of qi flow by the liver is conducive to smoothness of qi dynamic. Smooth flow of qi will make blood circulate smoothly because qi can circulate blood. Normal circulation of qi blood provides material basis for emotional activity. Then the mood will be happy. On the contrary, if the liver functions insufficiently in governing free flow of qi, the liver qi will be stagnated, and then the mood will be easily depressed. Or we can see little stimulation may cause refractory melancholy. If the liver hyperfunctions in governing free flow of qi with a hyperactive rise of qi, then the mood is liable to be irritable, and small stimulation may easily cause rage. The next one is the liver is responsible of being conducive to ejaculation in men and menstruation in women. Ejaculation in men and menstruation in women are closely related with the function of the liver in governing free flow of qi. When the liver functions normally in government of qi flow, the qi dynamic will be free and smooth. Then the ejaculation in men will be smooth and proper, and the menstrual cycle in women will be regular with a smooth menstruation. On the contrary, if the liver's function in governing free flow of qi gets abnormal, the qi dynamic will get disordered, And then the ejaculation in men will become unsmooth, and the menstrual cycle in women will become disturbed with obstructed menstruation. The next one we're going to talk about is that something related with the liver. The first one, the liver is associated with the tendency constituent, reflects its brilliance in the nails. The tendons of the body depends upon the nourishment of liver blood. As the liver blood is sufficient, the tendons can be nourished, and then their movement is flexible and powerful. If the liver blood gets deficient, the tendons will lose their nourishment. Then the power of tendons will be weak and the motion be impaired, or there appear tremors of hand and foot, numbness of the forelimbs with impaired flexion and extension, or even spasm and convulsion. Nails are the extension of the tendons. They need the nourishment of the liver blood all the same. The abundance of liver blood may influence the soundness of the nails, so it is said the liver reflects its brilliance in the nails. When the liver blood is abundant, the nails will be tough and tensile, ruddy and lustrous. If the liver blood gets deficient, the nails will become soft, thin, and withered, with no luster, or even deformed, fragile with cracks. The next one we're going to pay special attention to is the liver is associated with anger in emotion. Anger, as we can see, is an emotional change as a person gets excited in mind or feelings. Over anger may cause qi blood rise adversely. Yang qi goes upward and outward. Since the liver governs free flow of qi, rise of yang qi represents the function of the liver. Therefore, the liver is associated with anger in emotion. We can also see that anger is apt to enter the land. Over anger may cause liver's yang qi to rise too much to make blood ascend adversely along with rise of qi, resulting in hematemesis or even sudden coma. On the contrary, if the liver yin gets deficient, the liver yang cannot be checked. Whenever there is a little unease of mood, it will cause anger. The next one is the liver is associated with the eyes in orifice. The liver meridian of foot jueyin ascends to link with the eye. The qi blood of the liver goes up into the eye through the meridian of the liver to maintain the version of the eye. When the liver blood is abundant and the liver qi is harmonious, the eye will be able to see things in different colors. And on the contrary, if the liver blood gets deficient, the eyes will be dry and discomfortable feelings. Sometimes blurred vision or color blindness. Invasion of the liver meridian by the wind heat will cause right eye with itching pain. Flaming of liver fire will cause right eye with nebula. Hyperactivity of liver yang will cause dizziness and vertigo. And stirring up of liver wind will cause deviated eye or upward stare eye. The next one we're going to talk about is the liver is associated with tear secretion. Tear is secreted by the eye, and the liver opens into the eyes. So the liver is associated with tear secretion. When the qi blood of the liver is harmonious, the tear can moisten the eye and does not flow out. If the liver blood gets deficient, there may appear dry and discomfortable feelings in the eye. And in case of right eye with invasion of wind fire or Japanese heat in the liver meridian, there may appear too much caked secretion in the eye and something induced irritation of wind. The next one we're going to talk about is the kidney. We can see that the kidneys are located in the lumbar region. There's one at both right and left side, and the major function of the kidney are storing essence, governing water, and governing reception of qi. The kidney and bladder form an exterior-interior relationship through meridians, affiliation, and mutual connection. The kidney is associated with the bone constituent, reflects its brilliance in the hair, and is associated with fair emotion, with ear and 2 inner organs in orifice, and with spittle in secretion. The kidney stores the innate essence. It is the origin of life, so it is called the root of innateness. And the first one is the kidney is storing essence. The physiological effects of essence qi in the kidney are firstly to promote the growth and development and the reproduction. And there is a life law of birth, growth, and prime, aging, and death in human body. And the whole process of life is influenced by the kidney essence qi. And after birth, a person's essence qi in the body begins to grow gradually. In the childhood, there appear phenomena of dental transition and the growth of hair. In the young and the prime period, the kidney essence further develops and flourishes. Then there occur phenomena of growth of wisdom tooth, strong and firm tendons and bones, strong and healthy physique. Up to the elderly period, the kidney essence qi gradually declines, and then there appear phenomena of withered look, weak physique. It can thus be seen that the kidney essence determines the process of human growth and development. The development of humans' reproduction organs and its reproductive power are also influenced by the abundance of the kidney essence. As a person grows to his adolescent stage, following his kidney essence gets abundant to a certain degree, within his body, a kind of essential substance is produced which possesses the actions promoting development and maturity of sexual organs and maintaining the reproductive power, being called tiangui or sex promoters. Thus, in man, there may appear ejaculation, and in women, menstruation. Or one that possesses the genitality. Hereafter, the kidney essence qi gets more and more flourishing within the body, and the sex promoters are continuously produced to maintain the genital function. As a person gets his senile stage, his kidney essence qi becomes declined. Thus, the sex promoters decrease and exhaust. The genitality also declines in despair. Therefore, the root factor for determining the reproduction function lies in the abundance of the kidney essence. And there is a saying, the kidney dominates reproduction. When the kidney essence is sufficient, the growth and development will be normal, and the reproduction be sound. On the contrary, if the kidney essence qi gets deficient, there will appear more development in children, early senility in adults, and there may appear hypogenitality. So importance should be ever attached to replenishing the kidney essence for betterment of birth and breeding, healthcare, and protecting from senility. The next one we're going to talk about is the kidney governs the water. The function signifies that the kidney has the actions to control and regulate the distribution and excretion of water in the body so as to keep water metabolism balanced. The procedure of water metabolism is through reception by the stomach, transformation and transportation by the spleen, diffusion and descending by the land, steaming and heat transformation by the kidney, and taking the gel or triple energizer as the passageways, and water is transported throughout the whole body. The water, after being metabolized, can be transformed into sweat and urine to be discharged out of the body. The whole process of water metabolism is concerned with a series of physiological activities of several vessels. However, the kidney essence qi plays controlling and regulating role. And the kidney yin and yang transformed from the essence qi in the kidney are the roots of yin and yang of every viscous of the body. They maintain the balance for yin and yang of every viscous so as to guarantee normal participation of every viscous in water metabolism. In addition, in the water metabolite process, the turbid fluid produced by vessel, body constituents, and orifice is transported into the kidney through the triple energizer. The turbid is, under the qi transformation of the kidney, divided as two parts of clear and turbid fluid again. The clear part is reabsorbed and transported by the spleen qi up to the lung to be used further, and the turbid part, through the qi transformation of the kidney, is transformed into urine and poured into the urinary bladder to be further discharged out of the body under the qi transformation of the kidney and urinary bladder. It can thus be seen that the production and discharge of urine are directly related to the steaming and qi transformation of the kidney, which is important to maintain the balance of water metabolism of the body. If the steaming and transformation of essence qi in the kidney gets disordered, it will lead to disorders of production and discharge of urine, resulting in pathological phenomena of oliguria and edema. The next one is that the kidney governs reception of qi. And this function means that the kidney possesses the action of receiving the fresh air inhaled by the land so as to keep the depths of inspiration. The respiratory function of the body is governed by the land, but it must be through the reception and storage by the kidney qi to keep a certain depth. And performance of normal respiratory movement depends upon the coordination of the land and kidney. So there is a saying that the land is the ruler of qi, the kidney is the root of qi. The land governs exhalation of qi, and the kidney governs reception of qi. When the essence qi in the kidney is sufficient and with ability to receive qi, the respiration will be even and harmonious. On the contrary, if the essence qi in the kidney gets deficient and with little power to receive it, then there will appear pathological phenomenon of tachypnea, gasp induced by a little exertion, or dyspnea with prolonged expiration. The function of the kidney in governing reception of qi is actually the complete embodiment of storing action of the kidney in respiratory movement. The next one we're going to talk about is something related closely to the kidney. The first one is the kidney is associated with the bone in constituents, generous marrow, and reflects its brilliance in the hair. The bone or skeleton is of the function to support the body, protect internal organs, and perform movement. The kidney stores essence that generates marrow, which is within the bone to nourish it, so the kidney is associated with the bone in constituent. When the kidney essence is sufficient, the bone will be strong and firm. When the kidney essence gets deficient, the bone marrow will be short, and the bone will lose its nourishment. Then there may appear delayed closure of the fontanelle and the weak bone in children, and fragile and weak bone subjected to fracture in adults. The tooth is the extension of the bone. The tooth depends upon the nourishment of the kidney essence too. So when the kidney is sufficient, the tooth will be firm. On the contrary, in case of kidney essence deficiency, There may occur slow growth of tooth in children, and looseness and falling off of the tooth in adults. The second one is the kidney is associated with fear in emotion. Fear is a kind of emotional activity of timidity and cowarding. The close relation of the kidney with fear is from the long observation by ancient people. The kidney is located in the lower energizer. The kidney essence transforms into kidney qi, and the kidney qi must ascend through the middle and upper energizer to spread onto the whole body. Great fire makes qi thinking. If a person is in a state of great fire, the kidney qi will fail to go up and conversely go downward. Thus, the kidney qi cannot normally spread. So the kidney is associated with fire in emotion. And the next one, the kidney is associated with the air and two in organs in orifice. That the kidney is associated with the hair signifies the sharpness of hearing is closely related to the abundance of the kidney essence qi. The kidney qi is communicated with the ear. As the kidney qi is sufficient, the ear can differentiate the 5 notes of voices. The kidney essence can generate marrow, and the brain is a sea of marrow. So when the essence qi in the kidney is sufficient, the marrow sea will get its nourishment, and the hearing will be sharp. On the contrary, if the essence qi in the kidney gets deficient, the marrow sea will lose its nourishment, and then it may lead to blurred hearing, tinnitus, or even deafness. The next one we're going to talk about is the 6 organs. We will discuss them one by one. The first one is gallbladder. You can see that the gallbladder is located under the right hypochondrium, attaching to between the short lobes of the liver. The major function of the gallbladder is to store and excrete the bile. The gallbladder connects with the liver. The surplus of the liver generates the bile that flows into the gallbladder to be stored. The bile is pure and clear, so it is called refined juice. And the gallbladder is also named the full vesicles containing refined juice. The bile stored in the gallbladder, under the control and regulation by the function of the liver in governing free flow of qi, is excreted into the intestine to help to digest and absorb the foodstuff. When the liver's governing free of qi functions normally, the excretion of bile is free. And then the digestion and absorption of the foodstuff will be normal. Contrarily, if the liver functions abnormally in governing free flow of qi, the excretion of bile is obstructed, and then it will affect the digestion and absorption of the foodstuff. So there may appear distending pain in the hypochondrium, poor appetite, and abdominal distension. If the bile goes adversely upward, there may occur bitter taste in the mouth, or vomiting with bitter liquid, yellowish and green in color. If the bile spreads out from the bile tract, there may appear neuritis. In addition, the gallbladder also has the function to govern decision and can judge things and make decisions. In morphology, the gallbladder is an organ hollow inside and with a cavity, just similar to the other 4 viscera, so it belongs to 6 viscera. In function, it stores the bile, and being similar to storing essence qi of the 5 Zang viscera, so It is also called extraordinary food viscous. The next one we're going to talk about is the stomach. The stomach is located in the upper abdomen. It connects superiorly with the esophagus and inferiorly with the small intestine. The major function of the stomach are to receive and decompose the foodstuff. Receiving the foodstuff means the stomach possesses the actions to accept and contain the food and drink taken in. The foodstuff taken in through the mouth is contained in the stomach under the action of stomach Qi. So, the stomach is called granary and a sea of foodstuff. Decomposing the foodstuff indicates the stomach has the action to primarily digest the foodstuff to make it become the chyme. When the stomach functions normally in receiving and decomposing the foodstuff, the appetite will be normal. If the stomach's functions of receiving and decomposing the foodstuff get disordered, there may appear poor appetite, irritation with fetid odor, etc. Reception of foodstuff is the basis for composing it. The foodstuff entering the stomach transforms into chyme through the decomposition by the stomach. And then the chyme must smoothly go down into the small intestine so as to be further digested and absorbed. At the same time, this also creates the condition for the stomach to receive further. So, the stomach dominates dredging and descending, taking descent as its normality. If the stomach fails in dredging and descending, the stomach Qi gets stagnated, there will appear symptoms such as poor appetite, epigastric distension, stuffiness and pain, constipation, etc. If the stomach Qi fails to defend, and further it develops into adverse rise of stomach Qi, there will appear belching, nausea, vomiting, hiccup, etc. The next one we're going to talk about is the small intestine. The small intestine is situated in the abdomen. Its upper end connects with the stomach, and its lower end connects with the large intestine. The major physiological functions of the small intestine are to dominate reception and digest the chyme, and to separate the clear from the turbid. Reception and digestion of the chyme means that the small intestine accepts the chyme sent down by the stomach and holds it for a longer time so as to facilitate further digestion of it into the essence. If the small intestine functions abnormally in reception and digestion of the chyme, it will result in abdominal distension, diarrhea, and sloppy stool. Separation of the clear from the turbid signifies that the small intestine separates its digested foodstuff into two parts of the foodstuff essence, waste, and absorbs the essence and sends the waste down into the large intestine. At the same time of absorbing foodstuff, the small intestine also absorbs a great amount of water, so there is a saying, the small intestine dominates the sick fluid. If the small intestine functions abnormally in separation of the clear from the turbid, it may lead to mix-up of the clear and the turbid, manifesting as sloppy stool or diarrhea, etc. The function of the small intestine in reception of the chyme and separation of the clear from the turbid are very important in the process of transportation and the transformation of the foodstuff into essence. However, the function of the small intestine must coordinate with the transformation and transportation of the spleen qi so that the work can be smoothly accomplished. The next one we're going to talk about is the large intestine. It is located in the abdomen. It connects superiorly with the small intestine and inferiorly with the anus. The major function of the large intestine is to transform and convey the waste. The large intestine accepts the foodstuff residue from the small intestine by the separation and reabsorbs the redundant water in waste so as to make the waste become stool. Then conveys the stool down and discharges via the anus out of the body. The conveyance and transformation of the waste by the large intestine is the continuance of the separation of the clear from the turbid. It is related with the dredge and descent by the stomach qi, the purification and descent by the land qi, and the qi transformation of the kidney of qi. If the large intestine functions abnormally in conveyance and transformation of waste, it will cause abnormality in quality and quantity of stool and frequency of defecation. Since the large intestine reabsorbs the redundant water in the foodstuff residue, there is a saying that the large intestine dominates thin fluids. The next one is urinary bladder. The urinary bladder is located in the lower abdomen. Its upper outlet communicates with the kidneys through the ureters, and its lower outlet connects with the urethra. The major function of the urinary bladder is to store and discharge urine. The urine is blood produced from the water and the qi transformation of the kidney, and poured into the bladder for storage. When the urine in bladder gets to a certain amount, it will be discharged out of the body. The storage and discharge of urine by the bladder is regulated by the kidney. When kidney qi is sufficient, the bladder will close and open orderly. Thus, the functions of storing and discharging urine will be normal. If the kidney qi fails in control, there will appear anuresis or even incontinence of urine. If the qi transformation of the kidney gets disordered, there will appear dysuria or even anuria. The last one we're going to talk about is triple energizer or tri-gel. It is a collective term for the upper, middle, and lower jiao. The meaning of tri-gel or triple energizer is of two. One is one of the 6 full organs, which are the passageways formed by the mutual communication of the spaces among the viscera and within the interior of the viscera. The other is a concept of simple regions, or the part above the diaphragm as the upper jiao, the part from below the diaphragm to the umbilicus as the middle jiao, and the part below the umbilicus as the lower jiao or lower energizer. The major functions of the triple energizer is to pass primordial qi and transmit water. And the primordial qi originates from the kidney. It flows into the 5 down and 6 full organs and spreads through the whole body via triple energizer to play its physiological effect. The water metabolism of the whole body is accompanied by the coordination among the viscera, such as the lung, spleen, stomach, kidney, and urinary bladder. However, it must take the triple energizer as its passage to ascend, descend, exit, and enter normally. If the water passageways of a triple energizer gets obstructed, the lung, spleen, and kidney will hardly perform their physiological effects in distributing and regulating water metabolism. The last one I want to say is that as viewing the simple regions as meanings of a triple energizer, the physiological function of the upper energizer, including the heart, lung, and head and face, are to dominate the diffusion and dispersion. And the miraculous pivot summarizes as the upper energizer works like a sprayer. The physiological functions of the middle energizer, including the spleen, stomach, liver, and gallbladder, are to digest the foodstuff, absorb and distribute foodstuff essence to produce qi and blood. So in this book called Miraculous Pivot summarizes this as the middle energizer works like a fermentation tongue. The physiological functions of the lower energizer, including the small intestine, large intestine, kidney, and urinary bladder, are to dominate discharge of the waste and the urine. So this book summarizes this as the lower energizer works like a drain. And thank you so much for attending this class. And see you next time. Thank you very much.